Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Hi, guys. So we are live and direct in the house with the amazing Ange Todd, the happiness coach.
Yay.
So if you're joining us, say hi, say hello in the chat box. And yes, we wanted to. Have we done a live with you before?
Oh, in lockdown, yeah. Long
Ages
time
ago,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when we used to do the lunchtime lives.
Yeah.
That was good. A couple of years ago, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So we wanted to come and speak to Ange in front of you all, just to hear our story, because we talk about you all the time. Going, we've got a client, and she did this and did this. So you're like one of our success stories, because
Success
it's
story.
inspiring, right? Like we met you it's going back years now. Hi, tell us who you are, because it just says Facebook user. We met Ange a few years ago through, was it through Joanne?
I kind of hooked up with Donna on LinkedIn,
Oh, right, okay.
but then obviously learned that Joanne, the lovely Joanne Mead, was
Yes,
using you guys as coach for
yes,
coaching as well. So
yes.
so yeah, I think it was about back in 2018 now.
Was that,
So
my God?
yeah,
My
2018,
goodness.
2019. It was my investment to my 50th birthday, which was in 2020.
Yeah, it was
So
2019. So we started working with
that's
Ange, and
right.
we're doing one-to-one coaching with you first, because it was all like, are your mission ready for your 50th birthday? So 2019, so it's like 4 years ago. And tell everyone what you were like when we first started working with you.
I often, when I talk about you guys, I often recall and remember the 2 hour, very first 2 hour session I had with you in Donna's house. And I think after them 2 hours, I think what I actually said to you was, oh my goodness, what I've been doing to my mind is like when you take a razor blade to your skin,
Yeah,
mind harming is what I
yeah,
called it.
yeah,
Because for years I'd never believed in myself. I used to always sit there at my job and go, I'm waiting to be found out. You know, it was ridiculous, the things that I used to tell myself.
yeah,
This is all just luck. And I never really ever give myself credit for being amazing.
yeah.
I really didn't.
Oh, I know. I remember that exact conversation.
Yeah.
And like through working with you, like intensively one-to-one, like you, like I call you extraordinary, right? That's the thing that we came up with. It's like, my God, when you look at what you'd already achieved, even feeling like that about yourself is extraordinary, right? And then when going through lockdown, I remember you being so inspirational. Like you literally like stepped out as a leader, and even though like Trev was away, he couldn't get home. Like you had so many challenges in lockdown with
Yeah.
him being stuck away as well. But you stepped out and started to be that leader and be that support for everyone else. I remember your videos that you used to do. Like, didn't you though? Like you became a leader.
Yeah, I think it just felt natural to kind of put my arms around the community and reach out to everybody and help them. I was totally helpless myself. Like you say, Trevor was locked down on a ship for 7 months. And I look back at that time now and think, what on earth and how we got through it.
Oh,
But I think helping people has always been in my DNA and supporting people. And,
yeah,
you know, it was just a natural thing for me
yeah,
to do at that point.
yeah,
We were such in extraordinary circumstances, weren't we?
yeah. So, just for everyone, so at this time you had your estate agency, right? So you've always been a successful businesswoman, successful entrepreneur, and you had your estate agency, and then you set up your next branch, and you were working through that, and then we went to the chateau, didn't we, last October? And tell everyone how you felt like when you went there, like what you were when you turned up, and say hi, guys, and tell us if this is resonating. Put your comment in the comments as we're talking through Angie's story.
I think because I'd probably put my arms around the community and helped everybody else through, the lockdown. There was lots of things I didn't process myself, and last year I had some kind of really, I don't like using the word traumatic, but some unusual circumstances that I'd never had to deal with before.
Yeah.
That were very raw, let's say.
Yeah.
And I remember rocking up at before we got to the chateau, Julie, who I was traveling with, we did a bit of traveling and we went to Bordeaux, and I think afterwards she said she couldn't believe how much negativity was coming out of us. I was such in a right fettle with myself, and I turned up at the chateau. And I remember that first morning we were doing yoga, and I had to leave the yoga studio because I could just feel all of this emotion coming out.
Yeah.
And then I came back in and joined the yoga again. And then I left, and I just had this almighty release of, I can't remember ever crying like I did at that morning. And it was I embarrassed? Probably not, because I knew I was in a safe space with everybody.
Yeah.
But it was I wasn't expecting it. And I think I kind of at that point thought, oh, maybe I've just had a breakdown. But I think, with your guidance and Donna's guidance, it was kind of realization that I was having a breakthrough. Yeah. I just had to break through them barriers of probably a lot of pent up emotions from, Mum passing away in such a not a very nice situation, family problems, there was so many things I probably hadn't dealt with. Yeah. So that was the start of it. And I think I remember getting to the chateau and I had to lug my suitcase up the stairs, and I was like, ugh. And the morning I left, I just kind of glided down them stairs with my suitcase, heavier than it was when I went, but so much lighter. And that's how I felt, metaphorically, so much lighter, walking down them stairs and out of that door of the chateau. And just felt like I was just a totally different person, ready to release and unleash, basically.
I love that. And I always remember you sent us we've got like a WhatsApp group, me, you and Donna, and you sent us a little message saying, did you go to Paris after?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You sent us a little message saying, look who I've found. And me and Donna were like, oh my, who she met in Paris? And then you sent us a picture of yourself and you put me. And that was just like, oh, like makes us feel emotional, just because it was literally like you were like, oh my God, like I've just found me again. Like you were always in there, right? It's just sometimes we forget who we are, don't we?
Yeah. It was a magical moment, and it was an amazing week, and transformation, which is, I mean, I'm just looking through my notes off last year, because following on from the chateau, you and Donna hosted a 3-night retreat for us online. Yeah. And at that point, I was this was end of November, just like beginning of December. And I was like, oh, I haven't got time for this. And I was like, no, make time, learning and transformation. You've got to put the effort in. Yeah. And I've got some notes here from that 3-night session. And I've just dug it out last night to have a look through. And I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, crazy.
Because we're doing it not next week, the week after, like the Elite Mastermind, like what you attended is happening like on the 6th and 7th of December. And we use this example that on there, you just all of a sudden went, oh, didn't you? It was obviously sat there because you felt like, even though you've been so successful, you felt like there was something else about your purpose that you hadn't found yet. Yeah. And obviously it was in there in your subconscious mind, and then all of a sudden it just popped in, right?
Yeah. And I remember a conversation, and I've recalled this with a friend of mine a few months ago when we were chatting. I remember, in my very early 20s, I used to be a travel agent. And I remember me and the team all sitting around. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember where I was sitting, who was there. And I remember saying, I've been put on this earth for a reason. There's a purpose, but I don't know what that reason is. And I think I've probably been looking for my purpose or not realizing what my purpose was for so long. And now I feel, it's like you have a job, don't you? You kind of crave the money coming in at the end of the month.
Yeah.
but quite often that job's not very satisfactory. You know, you can have the job, but you'll still come home and you'll be, oh God, what was that today about? And then you have your career, and sometimes your ego takes over, and you know you want to be bigger and better, and you're just on that treadmill trying to create something. And then you find your purpose, and then at that point is the realization that you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing for you. And my purpose, I now understand, is to help people, but in a more guided way. I always had my other business. It was always about my employees. It was always about the coaching and helping them. And that job, you know, that business was taking me further and further away from that. Dealing with the mundane accounts, you know, everything that you have to do to run a business. And it was just dimming my fire. And the notes I have here actually is that, you know, my estate agency was going to be flourishing. We were going to be award winning. But then I opened the wellness center, and I quickly realized I couldn't run two things very well. And I wasn't doing the other business any justice. So it was time to rethink.
But just for everyone who's watching this, just to put some context around this. So when Angela has a light bulb moment, like talk about taking inspired action, like literally, as soon as you, and you've always been like this since we met you, as soon as you become consciously aware of something, bam, you take action, right? So you did really realized in December that you wanted to have a wellness center. Like you realize, oh my God, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I think I just blurted it out, didn't I? It's not even written on my notes. I just went, I think I'm going to open a wellness center. At that point, I didn't know where, when, why, how, where the money, and nothing. I was just like, oh, and then a couple of days later, and then everything just formulated, and it was like, right, let's just do it.
And this is the thing. This is the important point. It came in from your consciousness. It's always been there since you were in your 20s, right? I wanted to help people. And it just went, oh, open a wellness center. And you went, oh, I think I'm going to do it. And then you didn't allow fear and how and when and a timeline to get in your way. You just went full steam ahead because you realized that that's what it is. Now tell everyone when it opened, how long it took you to actually get a wellness center, get it decorated, open it up and have functional practitioners in there.
So in the December was when I kind of went, oh, think I'm going to do this. And then when I realized when, and then the name came, the alternative therapies, and I kind of knew its purpose and wrote down a list of what kind of therapists I would want in the wellness center. That was extremely important to me. I think renovation started going on in the March, because I went skiing in the March, and the decorators went in the March, and I think by the about end of April time it was ready, and then May was when I called in the first amazing therapist, which is Louisa, the I can never say this properly, the naturopath. Yes,
my coach.
That was the first thing on my list as well. The first thing was, because a lot of my journey, which I've even got written here, is helping people with eating plans, and you know, because it's something I've struggled with all of my life, and that was one of the things on here. You asked me last year, you asked us all what was our big dick energy, and I wrote, I become an emotional code practitioner, helping people release stored negative energy, but also with regards to eating.
My God.
And then I also wrote, where is my notes? I've got that many things scribbled down. I'll come to it. I can't find it. I
love it. But
there was something else on there about being doing NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist.
My God.
An emotion coach,
So you had the idea in December. It actually opened with functional practitioner. I go because I've been working with Louisa for a few years. I remember you put in Facebook. I was like, "This is my naturopath who I've been talking about for years and years."
That was the weirdest thing, because I was messaging you guys to keep you updated and like sending videos, and I remember saying, "Oh, I've got an amazing nutritionist," and then I think it wasn't until I sent a photo of, because I didn't realize who it was, and I sent, because I wanted it kind of signed over, you know, just to make sure she was coming on board. And then I think I sent a selfie of me and her, and you were like, "Oh my God."
This is Louisa, famous Louisa. But yeah, so December had the drop in. By May, you had the wellness centre up and running with practitioners. And now tell everyone what you've been qualified in. This is less than a year, people. You are now qualified.
I have qualified as a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, NLP practitioner. So armed with skills to help people kind of find their happiness. That's basically what, you know, I can help people do. Yeah. And it felt, because the practitioner who taught us that was then doing a hypnotherapy course, it just seemed a natural progression to do it with them, because there was quite a few people from my NLP course going on to the hypnotherapy course. So it kind of seemed that it was the natural path for me to follow, because whilst I wanted to do the emotion code practitioner this year, I did the hypnotherapy first because I was with people who I'd already got to like, to trust, knew them. So, you know, it just made sense to do that. And I qualify in December in a couple of weeks. So I've been helping people already, honing my skills, and I love it. Amazing. Absolutely love it.
And this is the art of the possible. This is why we want you to share your story. And me and Donna always say this, like, you are extraordinary. You are an extraordinary human who's always had a mission to want to go out and help people. But anyone can do what you've done, right? If you know, NLP, one of the presuppositions is like, if somebody else can do it, then so can you. So if Angela can literally have a drop in, go and take action, set up a wellness centre, hire some practitioners, become qualified in less than a year, find a purpose and live out in a dharma, then so can you. Like, we are not superheroes. We don't have magical powers. Like, it's the art of the possible. It's about having belief in yourself, right? You've got belief in yourself, coming from like having raging imposter syndrome, and in your words, mind harming yourself every single day, and now transforming your life. Like, if Ange can do it, then anyone can. And you're at the TEDx event. You're at the TEDx event last week with your smiling face in the audience. Like, Donna and I could see you dotted around the room, like smiling back at us, which was very helpful. But that was all around. Like, you can create any opportunities, and you're from the Northeast, so am I. And it's like, sometimes people think because we're from the Northeast of England, like there's less opportunities. Bullshit.
Absolutely bullshit. Absolutely. I think you just have got to just connect deep with that purpose and what makes you happy. And don't get me wrong, this year for me hasn't been, you know, I don't wake up every morning going, yay, I'm happy. You know, happiness is, you know, it's something we all have to work at. There's so many things under the umbrella of happiness, you know, your confidence for one, your beliefs, there's so much. But I think just connecting and really getting deep with what your purpose is, and is the job that you're doing, is it lighting you up every single day?
Yeah.
And if it's not, take inspired action.
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely inspired action to just, whether that's learning, you know, enrolling in a new course.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. You know, I've sacrificed so much this year because I've spent the year, you know, training for new skills.
Yeah.
On top of that, closing a business down and putting my arms around and making sure that the team were all looked after before I even was able to sit down and tell them what my plans were.
Yeah.
But yeah, just have a dream and don't be frightened of it. You know, I'm 53. I've traveled the world. I've literally fully circumnavigated it. There's so many places, and that was always my dream when I was younger. And I've done everything in my power to make that happen, whether it's selling things on eBay. So when I was younger, I'd sell things on eBay just to be able to pay for a holiday, because that's what that was. Traveling lights me up. That's my passion as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's just not being frightened. And if you are telling yourself all of this, you know, nonsense, because that's what it is. It's nonsense. It's a voice in our heads that literally, you know, is there to try and hold us back, to keep us in the safe zone. You know, the safe zone is shite. It really is. You need to get out your comfort zone and you need to push yourself, and just take inspired action.
I love that.
And not be frightened of it.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. And if you're watching this and you think, oh my God, that's what I want to go and do with your life, then we are offering an opportunity to come and have a conversation with us to talk about our programs. Andrew was in the Andrew did one-to-one coaching, and was in the mastermind, and is always in our community and just in our unicorn bubble. But if you want to, if you're sitting thinking like you're mind harming yourself, that you're miserable, that you're in a job that's not bringing you joy, come and talk to us, because we're giving you the opportunity to come and have a session with us to see if one of our programs would be right for you. And what better time to do it in December when you're building up to going into 2024, to just give yourself some momentum.
Best gift ever. And I think, you know, the first step to happiness is taking that first step to change, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for coming here on this lovely, cold, windy, sunny Friday in the northeast. Nearly got blown away when I went across the road, and sharing your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me in your beautiful, safe space.
Thank you. Right, guys, we are going to sign off. Have a fabulous Friday, and we hope you've enjoyed this inspirational story and it's given you some good juju in your bones, ready for the rest of the day. See you later, guys.
Bye. Bye. Bye.